Let me bring to order the local planning agency meeting. I'm going to ask the clerk for roll call.
Mayor Weissman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Here.
Commissioner Landman,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks.
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Here.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Here.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Here.
Mrs. Grant,
Here.
Mr. Wolfen. You have a quorum.
I'd like to ask Rachel Yavner to please come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
These chairs are so hard to push back.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I please have a motion for the approval of the minutes of February 6, 2018?
Motion.
Made by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Narotsky. Can I please have a vote?
Mayor Weissman,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks.
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky.
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We have one item on the agenda of the local planning agency meeting, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance that is being considered.
Mayor, this is a motion recommending adoption of the following ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Section 31-143 residential zoning districts of the city's land development regulations by amending Section 31-143 F3B multifamily high-density residential RMF4 district to add public or private waterways and docks to the sun shadow exemption, providing for severability and providing for inclusion in the code and providing for an effective date. As usual, any comments and staff report and citizen input on this item will be incorporated into the record as this item appears later in the regular commission meeting this evening.
Thank you. May I have a motion recommending adoption of the ordinance? Made by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, to present the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The ordinance is presented to the local planning agency for recommendation to the City Commission. If recommended by the local planning agency, the ordinance will then be considered on first reading at the City Commission meeting tonight. City Code Section 31-143F for the RMF4, and that's our multifamily high-density residential district, currently provides that the sun shadow from buildings that exceed 100 feet in height cannot fall on adjacent property. Exempted from this provision are shadows that fall on public rights-of-way. That's the current code. And the sun shadow is measured at 12 noon on December 21st when the longest shadow is cast. The applicant, YCM Acquisitions LLC, is requesting an amendment to include in this exemption sun shadows that fall on public and private waterways and docks. The request is to facilitate redevelopment of its property in the RMF4 district, and this request was discussed at the City Commission workshop of March 15, 2018. Staff has analyzed the request using the standards in Section 3177G of the City Code for reviewing amendments to the text of the land development regulations and finds that this request does meet those standards. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to ask the applicant if they have any comments at this time. Mr. Burkow, please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Jeffrey Burkow with the law firm of Burkow, Riddell, Fernandez, and Larkin, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. And we represent YCM Acquisition, LLC. I'll keep my comments brief. We obviously agree with the recommendations and remarks from your staff. We've proposed a code amendment that intends to clarify an overly broad city code provision. Your RMF4 district, which is your high-density district, has a shadow study requirement for buildings that are greater than 100 feet in height. They must be designed so that they don't cast a shadow in the worst-case scenario, which is December 21st at noon, on adjacent property. That's meant to protect, the intent of that code provision is to protect a neighbor's enjoyment of the sun and the air while they are in their backyards or on their balconies, pools, and pool decks. There's only one exception to the shadow prohibition, which is public road rights-of-way. So a building can cast a shadow on a city street or a sidewalk, and that makes sense. However, there's no exception for public or private waterways and docks that extend into those waterways. That is beyond the seawall and the upland area that's owned and enjoyed by the residents. So to be clear, we're not suggesting that this shadow be cast on anyone's building, pool deck, balcony, or anything that actually sits on the land. The shadow could only be cast on the waterways. So we would add to the exception language where it says except for public road rights-of-way, we would add public or private waterways and docks. We think this makes sense because there's no negative impact when a shadow falls on a road right-of-way, and there's no adverse impact when a shadow falls on a navigable right-of-way used by boats. As you requested and as we agreed at the workshop, we sent certified letters to the 8 dock owners at Porta Vida across the waterway, and we have not heard anything back, either by mail or by internet or by telephone, and we'll put copies of those letters in the record today. We're here to answer any questions that you may have. We would request your favorable recommendation on this ordinance to the City Commission, and we'd like to reserve some time for rebuttal. Thank you.
Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just
Vice
one-
Mayor Shelley.
Yeah, for Joanne, actually, could be either one. By changing this ordinance, does this affect any other areas that could be built at a later date with the same issues?
It does affect some other waterways in our city. Those waterways already have developments adjacent to them, so it would only affect if the building was demolished and redeveloped.
Okay, so this would be the only one that this ordinance change is affecting. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Commissioner Weinberg.
Just for the record, Joanne, so this proposed change was noticed to the public?
The requirement of the city code is that for a citywide amendment to the text of the LDRs, that it goes in the Miami Herald public notice 10 days before the hearing, which was done. Because it's citywide, there's no specific properties that are noticed.
But just, I want to be clear, it would have been an agenda item. The agenda goes out to whoever opted into the city email. Is that correct?
City Manager.
Yes, the agenda is sent out there, and it's also just available on the city's website. And the applicant did do 8 direct mail notices to the properties that were impacted.
Okay, so in addition to everything we just discussed, there was a mailing done to the neighbors.
That's correct. As the applicant proffered at the workshop meeting, they've given us a copy of the letters and the certified mail receipts that they sent to the 8 adjacent property owners.
Okay, I personally did not receive any communication from anyone objecting or supporting this. Did your office receive any communications from anyone?
I did not, Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
Any other commissioner comment, question? If there are none, then I'm going to open this item for public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this item? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it for public comment. And I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Made by Commissioner Narodsky. Can I have a second? Made by Commissioner Mizrahi. I'm going to declare the local planning agency meeting to be adjourned. Now I'm going to call to order the City Commission meeting of May 1st, 2018. Can we please have a roll call?
Mayor Weissman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Commissioner Landman,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Here.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Here.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Here.
Mrs. Grant,
Here.
Mr. Wolfen. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I'm going to waive the Pledge of Allegiance since we just did it and we had just one of our wonderful students leading us in it. But the first item on our agenda is the election of the vice mayor. So I'm going to ask for a nomination or a motion for election of vice mayor. Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yeah, Gladys Mizrahi.
Gladys Mizrahi has been nominated. Do I have any other nominations? Seeing as I don't have any, I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. I'm going to ask the city manager if there have been any requests for deletions or emergency additions to the agenda.
No changes to the agenda, Mayor.
Excuse me, Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, could we pull now? Is it too late to pull something and discuss it?
That's next.
That would be next on the consent agenda.
It would be one of the consent agenda items.
When I do that, you
Okay,
certainly...
oh, I'm sorry, I thought
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay, so there were no additions or deletions or emergencies to the agenda?
None from staff, Mayor.
Okay. Right now, we have school reports, and I'm going to again ask Rachel Yavner to please come up and provide us with our ACES update. And I want to say hello to her mother, Erin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Yavner, and I am a 7th grade student at ACES. I had the privilege of attending this amazing school for 8 years, and I'm happy to be here tonight to share some incredible things we are doing. In our effort to always find ways to give back, our student government spearheaded a food drive during the first week of April to benefit the nonprofit organization Joshua's Heart. Our drive culminated in several students and teachers delivering and distributing food on April 20th, which was Global Youth Service Day. A former student brought this drive to ACES 4 years ago, and she is currently serving on the board of the organization. We are proud to continue our support of Joshua's Heart. Last week, 23 of our middle school students and families were invited to the Principal's Honor Roll Breakfast. These students all earned straight A's for the third quarter and had the opportunity to celebrate and reflect on their success as they gear up for the final quarter of the year. There were several opportunities for learning experiences outside of school throughout April. Our kindergarten students took a trip to the Aventura Mall where they visited the Smart Gallery, which provided an amazing interactive art experience to our youngest Eagles. Some of the other field trips from the month of April included 2nd grade's trip to the Fort Lauderdale Museum of Science and 3rd grade's sunny trip to Surfside Safari for some hands-on science learning. Last week, we had over 150 students participate in the city's Arbor Day celebration, headlined by our kindergarten students singing songs and reciting poems. For the second year in a row, we have a team of students being honored at the award ceremony for the Securities Industry and Financial Market Association Stock Market Game. A team of 8th grade students came in 2nd place out of the thousands who competed and have been invited to the ceremony in Boca Raton this month. We also had 4 of our 8th grade students honored by Governor Rick Scott, who sent signed remarks recognizing them as finalists in Florida's Black History Month essay competition. As you can see, despite being in the middle of state testing, there are a lot of things going on and a lot more to come. Thank you for the opportunity to share just a few of the many great things happening at ACES, where excellence is the expectation. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I also want to take a moment to recognize Mr. Trukala, the Vice Principal of ACES. Could you please stand? Okay, from Waterways, I'm going to ask Chloe Freitas to provide us the update.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. My name is Chloe Freitas, and I am here today to inform the Council of the wonderful things that are happening at Aventura Waterways K-8 Center in the weeks to come. On the 12th of May, our Model United Nations team will partake in Oxman, a middle school competition filled with exciting and important topics, such as the Venezuelan crisis, global vaccination, and disease prevention. We will also debate amongst middle schoolers at Archimedian. This thrilling competition addresses such topics such as human trafficking. Our team is currently working very hard to prepare for these two conferences, and we could not be more excited for the results. Yesterday, our 8th grade class had a science boot camp in preparations for the FCAT 2.0 Science and Biology EOC. We completed testing for the Science FCAT today and are after working tirelessly, and our biology students continue to prepare and practice for the EOC, which will take place next week. Our school is putting on a production of The Lion King on the 16th through 17th of this month. Our drama kids have rehearsed for months and are anxiously awaiting the day where they can finally showcase their talent and hard work. On the 24th, we will have our National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony. The new members of this prestigious club will be officially joining and receiving their certificates on this day. We will also have our annual talent show on the 25th of May, where all of our students, kindergarten through 8th grade, will have a chance to shine. The talent show is at the Littman Theater in North Miami Beach, should you wish to attend. Our annual Grad Venture trip will be on the 18th of May, where our 8th grade class will go to Universal and Islands of Adventures to release the stress of this last couple of months and to celebrate their promotion to high school. Speaking of promotions, the 8th grade promotion ceremony will take place on the 29th of May at Dr. Michael M. Kropp, where all 8th graders will be recognized for their outstanding achievements and celebrated for their amazing successes. Our International Finance Academy students, marketing students, and our student government have all joined forces to create a video celebrating the highlights this year has brought and wishing our 8th graders farewell as they depart middle school. Lastly, the 8th grade dance and luncheon, or Grad Bash, will take place on the 4th of June. Thank you for allowing me to share with you all the amazing things our school has done, and will do in the end of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Great report. And let me once again recognize their principal, Mr. Louis Bello. And our next speaker from Michael Kropp Senior High School is Nathaniel Manor. And I'm proud to tell everyone that Nathaniel will be a freshman at the University of Southern California. His first choice.
Thank you.
Do you need a roommate?
I actually found the perfect one with the same last name as me.
There you go.
All right, so thank you so much, Commissioners. For those of you who don't know, my name is Nathaniel Manor. I am the Student Government Association President at Dr. Michael M. Kropp Senior High School, and I'm here to bring a couple updates within the last couple months at Kropp. So in light of college admissions, some of our seniors, the places they are going to include Stanford University, Columbia, Dartmouth, University of Southern California, University of Washington and St. Louis, University of Michigan, and many more, including some of the acceptances from Yale and Brown, but were turned down as well. In regards to our 4As, the athletics, the arts, the activities, and academics, we've had 5 district championships and 4 runner-ups in athletics and water polo and volleyball and other teams just within the last 2 months. Last weekend, we were able to host our first annual Color Run, which raised money for the newly established Lightning Activities Booster Club, which allows additional funds to be allocated to school activities for the first time in years. We had over 300 attendees, both volunteers and participants, making it a really great way to kick off the annual event. Our Lightning Strike newspaper was honored with the Gold Award from the Florida Scholastic Press Association for years on end, so that was a great continuation. And we've also received straight superiors at states for orchestra and symphony orchestra. In addition to that, we've had 3 students qualify to the Catholic Forensic League's national tournament this year in speech and debate, going to compete in June. And we had over 5 delegations from our Model United Nations team win best delegations at both FIU and UM's annual UN conferences in February and April, respectively. And in other news, we had our iPrep building, which is almost entirely done with construction from within. Now they're working on the exterior. It's being built, painted, and decorated to house over 600 new students to be open next year for the next academic year. And additionally, this year, our top 26% of graduates are actually honor graduates with 4.0 weighted GPAs or higher, and 26 of those have a 5.0 GPA or higher. So try to fathom that one. So that's that for CROP. So thank you so much.
Nathaniel, thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Does any member of the commission want to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Yes, item I.
Which one?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the remaining items on the consent agenda, and we will go back to I. Can I have a motion to approve the remaining items on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask no, I don't have to. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. The item that we have pulled from the consent agenda is item I, and I'm going to ask for a motion to approve that item. Moved by Commissioner Weinberg, seconded by Vice Mayor Shelley. I'm going to ask the city attorney to please read the item.
Thank you, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, establishing protocols to be considered by the City of Aventura Police Department for those investigations involving potential anti-Semitic motivations for criminal offenses, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Would anyone like to address the item?
Yeah, I'd like to ask.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yeah, please. David, city attorney.
Yeah, Commissioner Shelley.
That's okay. That's right. I'm a has-been. Could you explain a little bit more about what this is entailing? Because I think it's a very important issue, but I'd like to get a little better understanding as to what this means.
Certainly, this was brought by Mayor Weissman to the prior workshop meeting where the City Commission reviewed it, and we've modeled this resolution after a similar one adopted in Miami Beach, and likewise after a resolution adopted by the Miami-Dade County Police Chiefs Association, which represents all the excellent police chiefs throughout the county, and including our own. This resolution enables the police department to establish a investigative protocol that when crimes occur, the crime circumstances will be looked at closely to see if any anti-Semitic motivations for committing the crime were involved, and if so, that would implicate stricter punishments under federal and state hate crime laws. So it's a valuable law enforcement tool.
So it helps the police department then in their enforcement ability because it opens up a door to additional abilities. Is that what this is?
Correct.
Well, I applaud the mayor for bringing this on, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's a very important issue, and that's why I wanted to bring it out.
Thank you so much. Chief Pegues, do you want to say anything to the item?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I just want to say that we are committed and we have been committed. It is our highest priority to enforce these crimes, and we will put every resource available that we have. And we have several things, without speaking out in an open forum, resources that are in motion to strengthen this resolution and our commitment to do that. As you know, recently we had the Medina case over at Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center, which was a profound wake-up call for all of us and affected us greatly. I'm happy to report, as many of you know, that Mr. Medina will be spending the rest of his life in prison for what he did. So in light of that, we've taken several actions to further this resolution and internally, and I just want to assure everybody that we are committed to doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Anyone else want to address this item? If not, then I'm going to close the item for commissioner discussion. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this item? Seeing as there's none, I will ask the clerk for a roll call vote for item I.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We have no zoning hearing or quasi-judicial public hearing, and we're on to ordinances, the first reading in public hearings, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read 8A.
Thank you, Mayor. For item 8A, the public comments and staff report introduced in the earlier local planning agency meeting will be incorporated into the record. This is an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Section 31-143, residential zoning districts of the city's land development regulations by amending Section 31-143, F3B, multifamily high-density residential, RMF4 district, to add public or private waterways and docks to the sun shadow exemption, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
All right, and again, for everyone, this is the item that we approved in the local planning agency meeting just before this meeting. Can I have a motion for approval of the ordinance? Made by Vice Mayor Shelley, second. Vice Mayor Mizrahi. I'll get it right. I'm going to ask that the community director, Ms. Carr, just presented it in the local planning agency, so I don't think it's necessary unless a commissioner wants her to present it again. No indication that they do. I'll ask the applicant if they have any comments, additional comments. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? I'll open it for public comment. Okay, as there's none, I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Motion passes on first reading.
thank you so much. I'm now going to ask the city attorney to read item B.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Chapter 36, Retirement, Article 2, Police Pension Plan and Trust Fund by amending Section 3637, Time of Hire, to provide rules allowing officers hired between October 1, 2000 and September 30th, 2003 to purchase credited service under the City of Aventura Police Officers Retirement Plan for the years of service that they render to the city as police officers prior to the effective date of the retirement plan, providing for repeal, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance. Made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I have a second?
Second.
Made by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks. I'm going to ask the city manager to review the item.
Yes. This ordinance implements the memorandum of understanding with the PBA that we just approved as part of the consent agenda. And what it does is it allows police officers who had years of service that they did not have pension credit for to be able to buy that pension credit back at their own cost. So a neutral item from a cost perspective for the city.
Or do any members of the commission have any questions or comments about this item? I'm going to open the item for public comment. Does anyone in the public want to address this item? Okay, then I'm going to close it for public comment and ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Motion passes on first reading.
thank you. Item 9, ordinances on second reading, second public hearing. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. First item A, the City Commission in its capacity as the Aventura City of Excellence School Board of Directors, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, adopting the attached charter school operating and capital budget for the Aventura City of Excellence School for the fiscal year 2018-2019, July 1 to June 30th, pursuant to Section 4.05 of the City Charter, authorizing expenditure of funds established by the budget, providing for budgetary control, providing for personnel authorization, providing for gifts and grants, providing for amendments, providing for encumbrances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of this item, made by Commissioner Narodsky. Can I have a second? Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the city manager to please review the item.
Yes, Mayor. The detailed budget is included in the package, and the first reading was on our April 19th meeting where we went over it in detail. So I'll just go over a few highlights of the ACES budget for 2018-2019. The budget is balanced as required by law. Total budget of $9.7 million. It's up about 2.6% from the previous year. On the revenue side, we've talked about the FTE increase from the state, and that's about 1%. There is a new capital item on the revenue side, and that's the local share of the ad valorem tax from the Miami-Dade Public Schools. And there's a fund balance carryover consistent with prior years. On the expense side, salary increases are consistent with the previous years and in accordance with Florida statutes. Capital outlay for technology, laptops, tablets, mobile learning, computer labs, and an add to staff for instructional technology coach. Again, those are the highlights from the ACES budget, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And this is for the Aventura Charter School, ACES. This is the budget for 18-19 school year. Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments? I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this? Seeing as there's no one that wants to address it, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley? Yes. Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. I'm going to now ask the city attorney to read ordinance letter B.
Thank you, Mayor. City Commission in its capacity as the Aventura City of Excellence School Board of Directors, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending ordinance 2017-05, which ordinance adopted a charter school operating and capital budget for the Aventura City of Excellence School for fiscal year 2017 to 2018, July 1 to June 30th, by revising the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget document as outlined in Exhibit A attached here too, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this ordinance and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the ordinance? Made by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Narodsky. I'm going to ask the city manager to review this item.
Yes, Mayor, the budget for the current year for our charter school is being amended for two things. First, best and brightest funding that was received from the state. There is a corresponding revenue on that end. And then also for roof repair and replacement at the elementary school wing. So those two items are what composes the amendment to the current year budget.
Thank you. I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments. Seeing as there are none, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this? Seeing as there's none, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley? Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance letter C.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, adopting the attached Aventura Charter High School Budget Fund 191 for fiscal year 2018-2019, July 1 to June 30th, pursuant to Section 4.05 of the City Charter, authorizing expenditure of funds established by the budget, providing for budgetary control, providing for personnel authorization, providing for gifts and grants, providing for amendments, providing for encumbrances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you so much. Can I please have a motion for approval of this item made by Vice Mayor Mizrahi, seconded by Commissioner Landman? I'm going to ask the city manager to please review this item.
Yes, Mayor. This is the budget for 18-19 for the Charter High School. On the revenue side, we have a transfer from the general fund because they are not generating any FTE revenue as of yet, and a startup grant from the Dade County Public Schools. On the expense side, we have planning services from Charter Schools USA, consulting services from former city manager Eric Soroka, as well as partial year salaries and benefits for some key personnel that will make sure that the school is open and running in August of 2019.
Thank you. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Narodsky?
Just real quick, if you could refresh my memory regarding the principal and a couple of the key staff are being brought on as of October, do we say?
So there's 10 months worth of salaries, so I think if we start June, July, September-ish
Okay,
of 2018, of this year.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to open this item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this item? Boy, seeing as there's none, I will close it for public comment, and I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks? Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the city attorney to read ordinance lettered D.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending ordinance number 2017-08, which ordinance adopted the City of Aventura, actually 2017-08, which ordinance adopted the Aventura Charter High School budget, Fund 191 for fiscal year 2017 to 2018, July 1 to June 30th, by revising the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget document as outlined in Exhibit A, attached here too, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this ordinance and providing for an effective date.
Can I please have a motion for approval of the ordinance? Made by Commissioner Shelley. Can I have a second? Seconded by Vice Mayor Mizrahi. I'm going to ask the city manager to review this item.
Yes, Mayor. This is 6 months of consulting fees for the former city manager of $40,000 that were not included in the budget when adopted in the previous year. So we're amending the current year budget for that item.
Do any members of the commission have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing there are none, I'm going to open it for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address this item? I'm going to close it to public comment, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mizrahi?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes,
Motion passes on second and final reading.
thank you. We have no resolutions this evening, and prior to my asking about reports, I just want everyone to know tomorrow is our city manager's birthday. So maybe we can all sing happy
Oh, boy.
birthday to her, led by Commissioner Shelley, who can sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Did we embarrass you sufficiently?
Yeah.
Okay, do any commissioners have any reports? Commissioner Mizrahi. Vice Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes, I have actually two reports. One is that I'm very happy to announce that the Aventura City Talks is on its planning stages. We were looking to do it in May, but unfortunately with graduation, school, and May has been a hectic day. We're looking into September 20th. And our first topic, thanks to our youth advisory, is going to be cyber safety. So that's going to be our topic. This is open to all the public, including parents and middle school kids. All of us to attend. It's going to be very interactive in the library. The other is that I attended the Emerge Americas event, where it's an event that brings together innovation and technology, and this year they decided to bring together government officials so that elected officials will interact with the business community and share what needs to be done with everyone. It was actually very interesting. I thought it was brilliant that they would actually try to listen to the elected officials so that they could team up with the private sector.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Weinberg?
Just to piggyback on that, the Vice Mayor, I was there as well at eMERGE. I try to go every year. It is now become a world-class technology conference that's right here in our backyard at the Miami Beach Convention Center, a 2-day event. And the second day is all about women and encouraging women to get into the technology sector. So it's really a tremendous event, which I would encourage all the moms and dads to bring their daughters next year.
Thank you. Commissioner Landman?
This Saturday, we have our upcoming movie night at Founders Park. Doors open at 7. The movie begins at 8. It's the Emoji Movie. And I also want to take a moment to commend city and school staff for the great Arbor Day event that we had last Friday. We had beautiful performances from students at ACES of all grade levels. It was beautiful. So I just want to commend our staff for a great event.
Thank you. And I would like to also commend staff. We had our first wine and jazz event, and I would like the city manager to go over some of the highlights and some of the numbers. The attendance was amazing.
Absolutely, Mayor. And Kim Merchant, our Community Services Director, did a great job planning along with our Community Services Advisory Board. Over 600 people attended with wonderful music and wine, cheese, and food available for purchase. So a great time was had by all, and we're absolutely in the process of planning next year's event, and will only be bigger and better than the previous year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Mayor, I had one other.
One second. I just want to make sure that is anyone else? No? Okay. City manager.
Yes, the Aventura Marketing Council is planning their Meet the Mayor's Breakfast on June 21st, which also happens to be a date of one of our workshops. It would be done by 9:30, so if no one objects, I'd like to be able to start our workshop at 10 versus 9, and I promise I will get everyone out before noon, if there are no objections.
Does anyone want to address this?
This is not the first time that that's happened. We've done this in the past. Do you happen to know what the location is of?
Sunny Isles Beach.
Okay.
They're sponsoring it.
June 21. It is, should be a Thursday, I'm thinking. Then maybe I have the wrong date.
Thursday?
Okay.
Okay, I think. I think you have your answer.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, is there anything else left to report? If not, I'm going to open public comments and ask if any members of the public have any comments. Please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. My name is Vanessa Cueto. My address is 179
70 Northeast 31st Court, Aventura 33160. On behalf of the parents of Aventura Waterways K through 8, I came back to say thank you. Thank you for making sure our children are safe at school. Thank you for going beyond jurisdiction, for doing the right thing in such a prompt way. We had a meeting with Superintendent Carvalho, and we informed him about the motion you unanimously approved, providing us with a short-term solution regarding the police officer, and requested him to provide the school with a permanent officer. But now we are thrilled to have the police officer at school. At Aventura Waterways, we feel that you really supported us. We feel that here at Aventura we have authorities that really care about us. So thank you very much.
And thank you so much. Anyone else from the public? Please come up, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Marvin Talkie. I live at the Yacht Club of Aventura, 19801 East Country Club Drive. I have a handout going around just to kind of summarize my talking points for you. I come as a resident and a private citizen of Aventura and want to bring to your attention an issue you are well aware of that threatens our city and many others across our country, and that is the increasing popularity of short-term rentals through the use of internet booking sites. I live at the Yacht Club, as I mentioned, as a resident and owner. The community was created as a condominium private residence in 1996 and is stated as such on the stone entry facade, but now has become more like a condo hotel. The original developers created the Condo Association bylaws in 1996 with minimum 7-month lease stays. However, it was then amended in 1998 by that same developer, allowing a minimum of 7-day lease stays. The result of this practice in first quarter 2018 has been over 700 requests for stays of 7 days to 90 days, as reported by our association office. To my knowledge, this is the only community in Aventura that allows this kind of practice. I also learned the Yacht Club of Aventura is exempt from ordinance number 2002-22, section 3121 of the city code that defines residential and hotel uses, because our bylaws and amendments were approved prior to this ordinance. Our Yacht Club Board of Directors and Community Association have considered multiple times to change these bylaws. However, passive investor owners have no interest and do not participate in meetings and voting rights, as their interest is only money. No annual condo association meetings, business meetings, or bylaw changes have been held at our property since 1998 because of no owner quorums. Over the past year, our community association has implemented new procedures, fees, access methods, and security changes to better identify who's coming onto the property. However, these methods are not working, and the situation is out of control. Time does not allow me to provide numerous examples of violations. With no chance for condominium association bylaw changes and increasing threats to safety of staff and full-time residents, I am asking the city to reassess the permitting process for occupational business licenses that might offer a control mechanism. Another approach might be to create a vacation home rental ordinance, whereby there is an annual registration, high fee structure, and penalties for violations of short-term rentals. One city, South Lake Tahoe, Nevada, was in the news recently, took this approach with added penalties where you can lose your renter's permit permanently. In the end, this is about safety of our community through accountability and compliance. I ask you to please consider my concerns. If anything, the City of Aventura needs to update the 2009 permitting requirements for occupational business licenses. After all, much has changed in the past 9 years. Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you so much, Mr. Taki. I do believe that the city manager and attorney are already working on the issues that you addressed, and they will continue to work with you on this. Commissioner Weinberg?
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to commend the administration. The city manager and the city attorney. Marvin, who I did not know, I don't know if he reached out to anyone else, but I received an email, and it was an issue that, of course, is important, and he happens to live at a development that is different in terms of the rules in the grandfathering process than anywhere else in Aventura. And he had what appeared to be a well-reasoned idea and a way to try to improve the quality of life, and the manager jumped on it, and the attorney, and they are working on a way to protect the residents of Aventura. So on all sides, it's wonderful to see the way things are supposed to work. Now, having said that, let's just remember, everyone remember, that this is an issue with very powerful lobbyists that try every year in Tallahassee to get laws passed that are in opposition to what municipalities would like in terms of their free will and their ability to legislate. So we have to always keep our eye on it, but at least we know we are doing whatever we can, and we are being responsive to resident complaints. So I thank the administration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address us? Commissioner Narodsky.
I just want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. I feel strongly about the issue. I believe there is actually one other condominium, or one or two. I don't think the Yacht Club is the only one. I believe there is one or two other ones that I'm not quite sure why grandfathered in. Or I would like to see if we can get perhaps at the next workshop just some kind of update, because as a property owner myself, I also have it as a major concern. So definitely appreciate that it being brought to our attention, and perhaps we can get just follow-up. And I know there are some legal issues that have to be hammered out, so I'm confident that our city attorney can do that. So thank you very much, and if we can get the update, I'd appreciate that.
Commissioner Mizrahi.
I know that this issue has been very important to us. A year ago, before Susan, our manager, was here, we sent a letter to Airbnb telling them that Aventura will not permit any short-term rentals. We didn't hear back, and I understand that we were going to follow up with another letter, correct?
Yeah, we can send another letter if we'd like. There's certain, as Mark said, or as Commissioner Narodsky said, some properties that are, in addition to that one, I think there's like 2 or 3 that are exempt from that.
At that point, I think there was only one, the Yacht Club.
Well, I think there are maybe a few that are similarly situated
Well,
that
I
are right
know
there, but I don't have it in front of me.
What I do know is that they did take a lot of the listings out of their website that was in Aventura, so at least they're listening.
Joanne, let me ask you, Ms. Carr, do you have any idea of the number of condo buildings that this would apply to? Okay. And you'll get back to us with the information. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else that would like to address the commission? Seeing as there's none, yep.
I'm sorry, I just want to follow up. I just want to say that the fact of the matter is that every condominium association has the ability to make the short-term rentals of units in their building against their rules. They can make it a violation in-house. The problem is that if it's not currently part of their bylaws, then you have to get a large percentage of the owners to vote on the issue, and many condominiums are unable to achieve the minimum amount, so they're sort of stuck. I think in the case of the Yacht Club, you have many owners that are investors that want the rentals, and then it's those that are left behind as full-time residents that suffer the consequences. So, but I do want everyone to realize that the first line of defense is to purchase your home in an association that doesn't allow for short-term rentals. In that case, it doesn't matter what the state law is, because that's not going to supersede the condominium bylaws, which you buy your unit subject to those bylaws. So that's something very important that I think everyone needs to understand. Do your due diligence when you're purchasing your unit. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks.
I just want to speak to what Commissioner Weinberg mentioned just now. And that is, even though you may purchase in a building that does not allow short-term rentals, what is happening is in all buildings, the units are being rented for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they're simply not reporting it to the office. So the problem is huge. The problem is huge, and anything we can do to help that problem would be just very beneficial.
Okay, so again, I'm going to say to the city manager, we would like you to look into it with our attorney, and please get back to us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Can I have an motion to adjourn? Made by Commissioner Landman. Can I have a second? Seconded. Thank you. This meeting is officially adjourned.